A waffle is a dish made from usually leavened batter or dough that is cooked between two plates that are patterned to give a characteristic size, shape, and surface impression. There are many variations based on the type of waffle iron and recipe used. Waffles are eaten throughout the world, particularly in Belgium, which has over a dozen regional varieties. Waffles may be made fresh or simply heated after having been commercially baked and packaged fresh or frozen. Etymology. The word waffle first appears in the English language in 1725. Waffles, take flour, cream. It is directly derived from the Dutch wafel, which itself derives from the Middle Dutch wafel. While the Middle Dutch wafel is first attested to at the end of the 13th century, it is preceded by the French wafer in 1185. Both are from the Frankish word wafle, honeycomb, or cake. Other spellings throughout modern and medieval Europe include waf, wafer, wafer, wafel, wafer, iof, goffer, 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 waffle, waffle, waif, wafel, waffle, vaffle, and vafle. History. Medieval origins. In ancient times, the Greeks cooked flat cakes, called oblios, between hot metal plates. As they spread throughout medieval Europe, the cakes, made from a mixture of flour, water or milk, and often eggs, became known as wafers and were also cooked over an open fire between iron plates with long handles. Detail of a Belgian moule à oubli. Waffles are preceded, in the early Middle Ages, around the period of the 9th–10th centuries, with the simultaneous emergence of fer à hosties/hostiazers, communion wafer irons, and moule à oublis wafer irons. While the communion wafer irons typically depicted imagery of Jesus and his crucifixion, the moule à oublis featured more trivial biblical scenes or simple, emblematic designs. The format of the iron itself was almost always round and considerably larger than those used for communion. The oubli was, in its basic form, composed only of grain flour and water, just as the communion wafer was. It took until the 11th century, when the Crusades brought new culinary ingredients to Western Europe, for flavorings such as orange blossom water to be added to oublis. However, locally sourced honey and other flavorings may have already been in use before that time. Oublis, which formally received this name c. 1200, spread throughout northwestern continental Europe. Their spread eventually led to the formation of the Aublers Guild in 1270. Aublers/obliers were responsible for producing not only oublis, but also a number of other contemporaneous and subsequent pâtisseries lagers, light pastries, including the waffles that were soon to arise. 14th–16th centuries. In the late 14th century, the first known waffle recipe was penned in an anonymous manuscript, Le Ménagier de Paris, written by a husband as a set of instructions to his young wife. While it technically contains 4 recipes, all are a variation of the first. Beat some eggs in a bowl, season with salt and add wine. Toss in some flour and mix. Then fill, little by little, 2 irons at a time with as much of the paste as a slice of cheese is large. Then close the iron and cook both sides. If the dough does not detach easily from the iron, coat it first with a piece of cloth that has been soaked in oil or grease. The other 3 variations explain how cheese is to be placed between 2 layers of batter, grated and mixed into the batter, or left out, along with the eggs. However, this was a waffle/goffer in name only, as the recipe contained no leavening. Detail of a French moule à oubli/moule à goffer, Musée Lorraine. Though some have speculated that waffle irons first appeared in the 13th–14th centuries, it was not until the 15th century that a true physical distinction between the oubli and the waffle began to evolve. Notably, while a recipe like the 4th in Le Ménagier de Paris was only flour, salt, and wine, indistinguishable from common oubli recipes of the time, what emerged was a new shape to many of the irons being produced. Not only were the newly fashioned ones rectangular, taking the form of the fer à hosties, but some circular oubli irons were cut down to create rectangles. It was also in this period that the waffle's classic grid motif appeared clearly in a French fer à oubli and a Belgian wafelaser, albeit in a more shallowly engraved fashion, setting the stage for the more deeply gridded irons that were about to become commonplace throughout Belgium. Detail from Pieter Bruegel's Het Gevecht tussen Carnaval en Vasten, among the first known images of waffles. By the 16th century, paintings by Joachim de Buchelaer, Pieter Aertsen and Pieter Bruegel clearly depict the modern waffle form. Bruegel's work, in particular, not only shows waffles being cooked, but fine detail of individual waffles. In those instances, the waffle pattern can be counted as a large 12x7 grid, with cleanly squared sides, suggesting the use of a fairly thin batter, akin to contemporary Brussels waffles, Brussels waffles. The earliest of the 16th century waffle recipes, Oom Gode Waffelen te Bakken, from the Dutch KANTL 15 manuscript, c. 1500 to 1560, is only the second known waffle recipe after the 4 variants described in Le Ménagier de Paris. For the first time, partial measurements were given, sugar was used, and spices were added directly to the batter. Take grated white bread. Take with that the yolk of an egg and a spoonful of pot sugar or powdered sugar. Take with that half water and half wine, and ginger and cinnamon. Alternately attributed to the 16th and 17th centuries, Groot Wafelen from the Belgian Een Antwerps Kookboek was published as the first recipe to use leavening beer yeast. Take white flour, warm cream, fresh melted butter, yeast, and mix together until the flour is no longer visible. Then add 10 or 12 egg yolks. Those who do not want them to be too expensive may also add the egg white and just milk. Put the resulting dough at the fireplace for 4 hours to let it rise better before baking it. Until this time, no recipes contained leavening, and dough could therefore be easily cooked in the thin moule à obliges. Groot Wafelen, in its use of leavening, was the genesis of contemporary waffles and validates the use of deeper irons, waflazers, depicted in the Buchelaer and Bruegel paintings of the time. Charles Ix, King of France, created the first legislation regulating waffle sales. By the mid-16th century, there were signs of waffles mounting French popularity. François I, king from 1494 to 1547, who, it was said, les aimait beaucoup, loved them a lot, had a set of waffle irons cast in pure silver. His successor, Charles Ix, enacted the first waffle legislation in 1560 in response to a series of quarrels and fights that had been breaking out between aalbleurs. As a result of the legislation, aalbleurs were required, derder au moins à la distance de deux toises l'un de l'autre, to be no less than 4 yards from one to the other. 17th-18th centuries. By the 17th century, unsweetened or honey-sweetened waffles and aalblies, often made of non-wheat grains, were the type generally accessible to the average citizen. The wheat-based and particularly the sugar-sweetened varieties, while present throughout Europe, were prohibitively expensive for all but the monarchy and bourgeoisie. Even for the Dutch, who controlled much of the mid-century sugar trade, a kilogram of sugar was worth half an ounce of silver, the equivalent of $7 for a 5 pounds. Bag 1 2016 spot silver prices, while elsewhere in Europe, it fetched twice the price of opium. Wealthier families' waffles, often known as mestiers, were smaller, thinner, and above all more delicate, being composed of egg yolks, sugar, and the finest of the finest flour, mixed in white wine, and were served like dessert pastry. By the dawn of the 18th century, expansion of Caribbean plantations had cut sugar prices in half. Waffle recipes abounded and became decadent in their use of sugar and other rare ingredients. For instance, Menon's goffer from Nouveau Traité de la Cuisine included a liver of sugar for a demi-liver of flour. Germany became a leader in the development and publication of waffle recipes during the 18th century, introducing coffee waffles, the specific use of Hefeweizen beer yeast, cardamom, nutmeg, and a number of Zuckerwaffeln sugar waffles. At the same time, the French introduced whipped egg whites to waffles, along with lemon zests, Spanish wine, and cloves. Joseph Gillier even published the first chocolate waffle recipe, featuring 3 ounces of chocolate grated and mixed into the batter, before cooking. A number of 18th century waffle recipes took on names to designate their country or region city of origin. Schwedish Waffeln, Goffers à l'Allemande, and most famous of all the 18th century varieties, Goffers à la Flamande, which were first recorded in 1740. These Goffers à la Flamande, Flemish waffles, Goffers de Lille, were the first French recipe to use beer yeast, but unlike the Dutch and German yeasted recipes that preceded them, use only egg whites and over a pound of butter in each batch. They are also the oldest named recipe that survives in popular use to the present day, produced regionally and commercially by Meert. The 18th century is also when the word waffle first appeared in the English language, in a 1725 printing of Court Cookery by Robert Smith. Recipes had begun to spread throughout England and America, though essentially all were patterned after established Dutch, Belgian, German, and French versions. Waffle parties, known as waffle frolics, were documented as early as 1744 in New Jersey, and the Dutch had earlier established waffles in New Amsterdam, New York City. Liege waffles, supposedly created by an 18th century chef for the Prince Bishop of Liege, did not emerge until 1921. However, there are no German, French, Dutch, or Belgian cookbooks that contain references to them in this period by any name, nor are there any waffle recipes that mention the Liege waffles' distinctive ingredients, brioche-based dough and pearl sugar. It is not until 1814 that Anton Beauvilliers publishes a recipe in L'Art du Cuisinier, where brioche dough is introduced as the base of the waffle and sucré cassé, crushed block sugar, is used as a garnish for the waffles, though not worked into the dough. Antonin Carême, the famous Parisian pastry chef, is the first to incorporate gros sucré into several waffle variations named in his 1822 work, Le Maître de Hôtel Français. Then, in 1834, Leblanc publishes a complete recipe for Gauffers grêlés, Hale waffles, where gros sucré is mixed in. A full Gauffer de Liege recipe does not appear until 1921. 19th-21st centuries. 1948 advertisement for a waffle baker inside the Ladies' Home Journal. Waffles remained widely popular in Europe for the first half of the 19th century, despite the 1806 British Atlantic naval blockade that greatly inflated the price of sugar. This coincided with the commercial production of beet sugar in continental Europe, which, in a matter of decades, had brought the price down to historical lows. Within the transitional period from cane to beet sugar, Florian Dasher formalized a recipe for the Brussels waffle, the predecessor to American Belgian waffles, recording the recipe in 1842-43. Stroopwafels, Dutch syrup wafels, too, rose to prominence in the Netherlands by the middle of the century. However, by the second half of the 1800s, inexpensive beet sugar became widely available, and a wide range of pastries, candies, and chocolates were now accessible to the middle class as never before. Waffles' popularity declined rapidly. By the early 20th century, waffle recipes became rare in recipe books, and only 29 professional waffle craftsmen, the Alblers, remained in Paris. Waffles were shifting from a predominantly street vendor-based product to an increasingly homemade product, aided by the 1918 introduction of the U.S. company General Electric's first electric commercial waffle maker. By the mid-1930s, dry pancake waffle mix had been marketed by a number of companies, including Aunt Jemima, Bisquick, and a team of 3 brothers, the Dorses from San Jose, California, United States. It is the Dorses who would go on to innovate commercial production of frozen waffles, which they began selling under the name Eggo in 1953. Manufacturers are now testing the production of waffles with potato starch, which increase the stability of the waffle and protect them from sticking to the iron. A food van selling waffles in Brussels. Belgian-style waffles were showcased at Expo 58 in Brussels. Another Belgian introduced Belgian-style waffles to the United States at the 1962 Seattle World's Fair, but only really took hold at the 1964 New York World's Fair, when another Belgian entrepreneur introduced his Belgium waffles. In practice, contemporary American Belgian waffles are actually a hybrid of pre-existing American waffle types and ingredients and some attributes of the Belgian model. Even as most of the original recipes have faded from use, a number of the 18th and 19th century varieties can still be easily found throughout Northern Europe, where they were first developed. Varieties: Brussels waffle, plain waffle sold at a neighborhood store in Singapore. Rolled waffles, waffle cookies made in Belgium and imported to the United States. Galettes campanoises, Shutterstock, Explore, waffle with ice cream. Brussels waffles are prepared with an egg white leavened or yeast leavened batter, traditionally an ale yeast. Occasionally both types of leavening are used together. They are lighter, crisper, and have larger pockets compared to other European waffle varieties, and are easy to differentiate from Liege waffles by their rectangular sides. In Belgium, most waffles are served warm by street vendors and dusted with confectioner's sugar, though in tourist areas they might be topped with whipped cream, soft fruit, or chocolate spread. Variants of the Brussels waffles, with whipped and folded egg whites cooked in large rectangular forms, date from the 18th century. However, the oldest recognized reference to gaufres de Bruxelles, Brussels waffles, by name is attributed from 1842-43 to Florian Dascher, a Swiss baker in Ghent, Belgium, who had previously worked under pastry chefs in central Brussels. Philippe Edouard Cotelier would later publish Dascher's recipe in the 1874 edition of his recipe book, La Pâtisserie et la Confiture. Maximilien Conseil, another Ghent chef, had claimed to have invented the waffles in 1839, though there's no written record of him either naming or selling the waffles until his participation in the 1856 Brussels Fair. Neither man created the recipe. They simply popularized and formalized an existing recipe as the Brussels waffle. Liege, main article, Liege waffle. The Liege waffle is a richer, denser, sweeter, and chewier waffle. Native to the Greater Wallonia region of eastern Belgium, and alternately known as gaufres de chasse, hunting waffles, they are an adaptation of brioche bread dough, featuring chunks of pearl sugar which caramelize on the outside of the waffle when baked. It is the most common type of waffle available in Belgium and prepared in plain, vanilla, and cinnamon varieties by street vendors across the nation. Flemish waffles, or gaufres à la Flamande, are a specialty of northern France and portions of western Belgium. The original recipe, published in 1740 by Louis-Auguste de Bourbon in Le Cuisinier Gascon, is as follows. Take 2 litrons, 1.7 liters or 7 cups of flour, and mix it in a bowl with salt and 1 ounce of brewer's yeast barm. Moisten it completely with warm milk. Then whisk 15 egg whites and add that to the mixture, stirring continuously. Incorporate unliver, 490 grams or 1.1 pounds of fresh butter, and let the batter rise. Once the batter has risen, take your heated iron, made expressly for these waffles, and wrap some butter in a cloth and rub both sides of the iron with it. When the iron is completely heated, make your waffles, but do so gently for fear of burning them. Cooked, take them out, put them on a platter, and serve them with both sugar and orange blossom water on top. American waffles vary significantly. Generally denser and thinner than the Belgian waffle, they are often made from a batter leavened with baking powder, which is sometimes mixed with pecans, chocolate drops or berries, and may be round, square, or rectangular in shape. Like American pancakes, they are usually served as a sweet breakfast food, topped with butter and maple syrup, bacon, and other fruit syrups, honey, or powdered sugar. They are also found in many different savory dishes, such as fried chicken and waffles, or topped with kidney stew. They may also be served as desserts, topped with ice cream and various other toppings. A large chain, over 1,900 locations, of waffle specialty diners, Waffle House, is ubiquitous in the southern United States. The Belgian waffle is popular in North America. Belgian waffles are based on a simplified version of the Brussels waffle. Recipes are typically baking soda leavened, though some are yeast raised. They are distinguished from standard American waffles by their use of 1/2 depth irons. Belgian waffles take their name from the Belgem brand, which was promoted by waffle vendor Maurice Vermersch, who came from Brussels, Belgium. The thicker style was also popularized at the 1964 New York World's Fair. Bergisch waffles, or waffles from Berg County, are a specialty of the German region of Bergisches Land. The waffles are crisp and less dense than Belgian waffles, always heart-shaped, and served with cherries, cream, and optionally rice pudding as part of the traditional afternoon feast on Sundays in the region. Hong Kong-style waffle, in Hong Kong called a grid cake or grid biscuits, Chinese letter, is a waffle usually made and sold by street hawkers and eaten warm on the street. It is similar to a traditional waffle but larger, round in shape and divided into 4 quarters. It is usually served as a snack. Peanut butter and sugar are spread on one side of the cooked waffle, and then it is folded into a semicircle to eat. Eggs, sugar, and evaporated milk are used in the waffle recipes, giving them a sweet flavor. They are generally soft and not dense. Traditional Hong Kong-style waffles are full of the flavor of yolk. Sometimes different flavors, such as chocolate and honey melon, are used in the recipe and create various colors. Another style of Hong Kong waffle is the baguette or gai dan jai, Chinese letter, which have a ball-shaped pattern. Pandan waffles originate from Vietnam and are characterized by the use of pandan flavoring and coconut milk in the batter. The pandan flavoring results in the batter's distinctive spring green color. When cooked, the waffle browns and crisps on the outside and stays green and chewy on the inside. Unlike most waffles, pandan waffles are typically eaten plain. In Vietnam, they are relatively cheap and so are popular among children. They are a popular street food made in either cast iron molds heated with charcoal or in electric waffle irons. Croffle with ice cream. Croffle, a compound word of croissant and waffle, bakes croissant dough in a waffle pan and eaten with ice cream or maple syrup. It is a popular dessert in Korea. On the internet, jokes about the greatest invention of the COVID-19 age spread. There are various types of croffles that utilize various toppings such as basil, corn, cheese, and so on. It is also popular with people because it is easy to make and eat at home. The beginning of croffle is the Café Le Petit Parisien in Dublin, Ireland. According to the Irish newspaper Dublin Gadget, reported on July 20, 2017, Louise Lennox, a baker at the cafe in Camden Street, Dublin, first created a menu item called croffle. Kue gapit is popular in Indonesia. Kue gapit is an Indonesian kue kering, dry snack, which originates from West Java. Generally made from tapioca flour, its name comes from the cooking process, in which it is grilled between iron molds like a waffle. The snack comes in a variety of shapes and flavors. Scandinavian-style waffles, common throughout the Nordic countries, are thin and made in a round waffle iron. The batter is similar to other varieties, but does not contain sugar. The most common style are heart-shaped slices with a sweet topping such as cream or jam. In Norway, brunost and gom are also popular toppings. As with crepes, there are those who prefer a salted style with various mixes, such as blue cheese. In Finland, savory toppings are uncommon. Instead, jam, sugar, whipped cream, or vanilla ice cream are usually used. In Iceland, the traditional topping is either rhubarb or blueberry jam with whipped cream on top. Syrup and chocolate spread are also popular substitutes for the jam. The Swedish tradition dates at least to the 15th century, and there is even a particular day for the purpose, Vaffeldagen Waffle Day, which sounds like Varfrudagen, Our Lady's Day, and is therefore used for the purpose. This is March 25, 9 months before Christmas, the Christian holiday of Annunciation. They are usually topped with strawberry jam, bilberry jam, cloudberry jam, raspberry jam, bilberry and raspberry jam, sugar and butter, vanilla ice cream, and whipped cream. Other savory toppings include salmon roe, cold smoked salmon, and cream fresh. Gaffri, singular gaffer, are waffles in Italy and can be found in the Piedmontese cuisine. They are light and crispy in texture, contain no egg or milk, according to the most ancient recipe, and come both in sweet and savory versions. Central Italian cuisine also features waffle-like cookies, which are locally known as pizzelle, ferratelle in Abruzzo, or cancelle in Malays. Stroopwafels are thin waffles with a syrup filling, which originated from the Dutch city of Gouda. The stiff batter for the waffles is made from flour, butter, brown sugar, yeast, milk, and eggs. Medium-sized balls of batter are put on the waffle iron. When the waffle is baked, and while it is still warm, it is cut into two halves. The warm filling made from syrup is spread in between the waffle halves, which glues them together. They are popular in the Netherlands and Belgium, and sold in pre-prepared packages in shops and markets. Galettes campenoises/Kempense galette are a type of waffle popular in Belgium. They are rigid and crunchy, but are buttery, crumbly, and soft in the mouth. Hot dog waffles, or waffle dogs, are cylindrical waffles with a hot dog cooked inside them, similar to a corn dog. It is made with specialized waffle irons with cylindrical hot dog bun-shaped molds. They originate from Hawaii, where it was first served at the KC Drive-In in 1934, owned by the Japanese-American Jiro Asado, who later legally changed his name to KC Jiro Asado. The original version has a distinctive shape, with an oblong middle section, containing the hot dog, surrounded by flattened square edges. It is served plain or with a combination of ketchup, mustard, and pickle relish. Its popularity spread to the continental United States, the Philippines, then an American colony, and throughout the rest of the Pacific Islands. Waffle dogs remain an iconic part of Hawaiian culture, though it has waned in popularity in the rest of the U.S. It has also remained popular as a street food item in the Philippines, where variants can use other savory fillings like ham, bacon, longanisa, tuna, or cheese, as well as sweet fillings like ube, chocolate, or yema custard. The Filipino versions are also more uniformly cylindrical, with a grid pattern, and are usually served on bamboo skewers. The Filipino fast food chain Waffle Time, founded in 1998, specializes in hot dog waffles as well as other savory and sweet fillings. In modern times, it has also gained popularity in Thailand and the rest of Southeast Asia, where it is served with ketchup, mayonnaise, or both.